Okay, it's Nick back again one more time. Hello, continuing kind of the psychic experience project, so to speak. And if you've got any weird experiences that you'd like to relate about anything of the supernatural nature or spiritual, paranormal, whatever, then leave it in the comment section, and I'll be reading it out in a video at some point in the future. We might as well just like take this thing reasonably seriously, okay? But let's just have a look at just one more. One of my commenters says, "I hear a little girl's voice increasing frequency. She even sings sometimes, so perhaps she's content where she is." Now, that's interesting because I've had an experience of like my hearing my name being called out by a little childish voice that seems to flitter around my head when I was in bed at night, and that was rather weird. And that started making me think about, fairy type creatures, fae folk, that sort of thing. So maybe there's some truth to, when you do hear a voice, that there is something which is brought about by your meditations or whatever, and things are trying to communicate with you. Hypothetically, that's a real thing. Then moving on to another one of the commenters who says, "I mainly practice types of Buddhist meditation such as metta or loving kindness, Tonglen and tantric visualizations. It has helped me develop compassion and connection with people as well as being able to pick up on their energy and cues." I think that's interesting because the more meditation and indeed prayer that you do, the more you do seem to have more energetic weird experiences. The comment goes on. "I've also been able to have strange experiences seeing different Buddhas and beings." Yeah, because sometimes when you go deep into meditation, there is experiences and feelings of presences, and sometimes even a sense of communication from them. I've had sometimes when I've done meditation and opened up my chakras, and I've heard messages come straight into the top of my head. It's been really rather weird. The message goes on. "I also practice mantra meditation in a dark room where I've had experiences of a darker nature." No pun intended. Uh, yeah. Sometimes there can be some experiences which lead you to think that there is some kind of dark entity in a place. Well, maybe there's a certain, to a certain extent, that there is some truth to that. It is said by some people that everything which happens in the physical came down from a higher level of reality into the physical. So maybe there is some, dark forces around which do have impacts upon people. It's hypothetically possible. Although how one would be able to like utilize that for the purposes of like treating diseases or making the world a better place, it would be difficult to say so. I mean, that book I told you about, the Exorcist Handbook, that suggests a particular theology and a particular approach to the way that the world could be, which could possibly have a certain quantity of truth to it on the basis of experience. But that doesn't stop me from having more and more questions about reality and whether even that particular point of view and perspective of reality is necessarily real. I mean, I'm still approaching this from a transcendental deistic point of view. I can say, okay, that's like an interesting experience, but what does it actually mean? And that's an interesting experience, but was it actually genuine? Do I have a right to see my experiences as objective proof of this, that, and the other? No, but I can see it as being an experience which gives me a reason to contemplate a particular spiritual truth or model of the way the world works as being potentially with some merit to it. But then it's a question of which particular point of view or spiritual, paradigm, whatever you want to call it, you're going to use to approach these things, and what methods, and with what attitude, and for what purpose. I mean, sometimes I'm like, I feel like doing something odd tonight, but I think to myself, for what specific purpose? And if my understanding of this, that, and the other is true or clear or right, then essentially, well, could there be something negative associated with that as well? I mean, is my understanding correct enough for me to say, yeah, this is the way that things are, therefore I can reliably do this, that, and the other? But if I did that, would I also be falling into the trap of thinking, it works, as opposed to thinking, what is the nature of the forces in question here, and why are they happening? Says he, just flicking the lid off his pen for no particular reason. That's a blooper. You can put that into a fail army video if you wanted. Right, so, I mean, the more we experience, the more we find out that surely the more We are expanding in terms of our understanding as to hypothetical possibilities. We're increasing our awareness of what particular experiences or what particular work could actually be creating those experiences. We can't be superstitious and put everything down to, let's say, the colors of the candles that we're using, or the ritual tools, or the words and the rest of that. It's got to be something more primordial. It's got to be something more natural. It's got to be something more in the core of reality that we're somehow affecting. But we still don't know the hows, whys, and wherefores of it, because we never will. Not properly. Which is upsetting, annoying, and frustrating, because I'm a human being. I want everything to be like clear-cut and easy and all that stuff, but it's not. Right? None of this stuff is even remotely clear-cut or easy to understand or easy to do or easy to deal with. It's just the way that things are. And that's annoying. So, do your experiments, but accept the fact that it is going to be annoying when you're trying to work out what's really real. And there's no point in listening to one particular, specific denomination of truth about these things, because they all have something to bear. At least that's what I would say, because of, where I'm coming from. I'll leave you with that ramble, and there'll be another video coming shortly.